video game movie?
I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm old. Or maybe it's because I'm not a gamer. But I had never heard of Markiplier until last week when I was reading about the movie Iron Lung. But he's pretty big in terms of YouTube. 33 million followers. He does a lot of gaming stuff. But, like other YouTubers, he decided that he wanted to try his hand in filmmaking. And so, because he's a gamer, he turned his attention to Iron Lung. Now, Iron Lung is an indie horror game, and he's a big fan of it. So he decided that he wanted to turn this game into a movie. So he acquired the rights, and he decided to direct, write, produce, and star in the film himself. Not just a short film, but a full-scale, full feature-length movie. He financed the project largely throughout his own resources and his production company. I worked with a small, tight-knit crew of people that he relied on, and with a small, tiny, minuscule budget of $3 million, he brought the film Iron Lung to theaters. Now, we've seen this recently. YouTubers becoming movie makers. Chris Stuckman, big YouTuber, he made a film last year. Now, that film was called Shelby Oaks, and if you didn't see it, you're not missing much. It's really not very good. However, Raka Raka, the brothers Danny and Michael from Australia, they're YouTubers. They created 2 feature-length films, Talk to Me and Bring Her Back. Those films are fantastic. So, what do we have here? Where does Markiplier's Iron Lung film fall? Is it a brilliant creative endeavor like the Raka Raka brothers? Or is it boring and derivative like Chris Stuckman's Shelby Oaks? Well, before we answer that, let's talk a little bit about the plot for the movie Iron Lung.
Let's have it, Shaq.
So, set in a future where a mysterious cosmic event has wiped out most of known life in the universe, Iron Lung follows a condemned prisoner sent on a suicidal mission to explore an ocean of blood on an alien moon using a tiny, barely functional submarine. There is hope that there is something under this ocean that may help save mankind. But as he descends deeper, the mission becomes less about exploration and more about survival and existential dread. So what works in this film? Well, one of the film's biggest achievements is how incredible it looks on such a modest budget. I mean, $3 million in 2026 is nothing. But I gotta give them credit. Grim industrial production and design, the oppressive lighting, and the unsettling soundscape all work together to create a suffocating atmosphere that feels far more expensive than it is. The visual ingenuity, especially the use of practical effects and minimalistic sets, turns limitations into strengths, making the world feel tactile and disturbingly real. Also, Markiplier, it's his first major acting role. He's very impressive. Now, he's not perfect. Starts a little slow at first. Seems like he's trying too hard. But man, once he gets going, he brings a raw, believable vulnerability to the character, selling both the isolation and the creeping terror. His performance anchors the film emotionally, and it's easy to forget you're watching a YouTuber and not a seasoned genre actor.
So, what's wrong with it?
What doesn't work in the film, however, is its length. It's a little over 2 hours long. You know, it starts really strong. The ending's fantastic, but it really, really drags in the middle. You could have cut a good 30, 35 minutes out of this film and really not lost anything. It's a slow burn and it works for a while, but does start to drag. But probably my biggest complaint is if you're unfamiliar with this game, there are going to be parts of this movie that are very confusing. The film really does assume that you are familiar with some of the source material. So I feel like the movie was made for fans of the game, and that's perfectly all right. When I got home, I read a bit about the lore of the game, and it made more sense to me. And I kind of wish I would have done that before I saw it. Still, though, Iron Lung is an ambitious and visually striking debut. It's an impressive exercise in low-budget sci-fi horror filmmaking that proves strong atmosphere and committed performances can go a long way, even if the journey feels, maybe a little bit longer than it needs to be. So while it may not be a perfect film, it's a pretty entertaining one. If you're a fan of this game, I have a feeling you're really going to like it. If you're not, I would advise reading up a little bit about the lore of the game before you see it. But regardless, it's an impressive debut from Markiplier, and credit to him and his entire production company. So, way to go, dude.
Way to go, dude!
Well, that's all I have for you this week. Tune in next week where I give you my thoughts and my feelings on whatever I've seen. In the meantime, click that like button, subscribe, leave a comment or a question, share this video with friends and enemies alike, and as always, thank you for giving me your valuable time, and I'll see you next week. Take care.